we as a human are on the top of hierarchy level in the world. So if a person is elder in the family, he had certain responsibility towards the younger ones. The chef I was working with in Paris, he taught me one thing, that animals are here with us, not for us. I'm a flexitarian. I want to try something vegan. I'm looking for a cheese alternative. 3 points. It should look like cheese.
Yeah.
It should smell like cheese. It should taste like cheese. It should feel like cheese. If I'm getting a product and it's not doing justice to its name, then I'm doing scam as a businessman. From starting, my reference point was the dairy cheeses. I want to come as close to dairy cheeses as possible. I can say it very proudly, Sefra. We are standing almost 95% close to the dairy cheeses.
Hi everybody, welcome to another episode of Sephra's Green and Greener show, where we decode simpler steps to living a more sustainable life. Today I am joined by chef and co-founder of Plan B Cheese. Here with me, Chef Rishu. Hi Rishu, how are you doing?
Hey, I'm doing well, Sefra. Well, thank you for having me on your...
Of course, we are all here. We really want to know more about your life and how you got to being in this industry of vegan cheese. So why don't we quickly start, okay? And you tell us more about yourself. Like, who is Rishu? What were you before you knew about this vegan concept, or before you knew that you wanted to enter the vegan cheese industry?
All right. So my story is basically in simpler words. You can say like a chef with hardcore chef, in better words, with 18 years of working experience.
Wow.
Starting a vegan business, finding his purpose in life, and just doing this not as a business but as a service to, making this world a better place.
Okay, that's a very brief. I love the introduction. So you told us you have 18 years of experience as a chef, right? So can you give us a little bit of an insight into where were you working? Like, was it Bombay? Was it somewhere else in India? Was it outside India? Where were you working, and what kind of food was your specialty?
All right. So in my last 18 years of working career, I worked at various locations, including United States, France, India, of course, and with different clients, like in restaurants, for hotels, for film celebrities, and all. So yes, so for just to give a few name, I worked with my last job was with the 3 Michelin star restaurant in Paris, La Purge, helmed by chef Alain Passat.
Mm-hmm.
And then COVID happened. I lost my job. I came back to India. So hence this was the inception of Plan B. So
Okay. So you said that COVID, I mean, around 2020 is what I assume, right?
yes.
So were you already vegan or plant-based by then? Were you vegetarian before? What was your eating journey? Let's put it like that.
Okay. So I come from a very Brahmin family where everybody is vegetarian, like religiously. So I was also vegetarian until the age of 17 years, until I get myself admitted into culinary school, where I got introduced with the meat, and I started eating and making meat, because the kind of profession I chose, so it was not an option for me to stay away from the meat. So I had to serve my customers, my guests. So definitely, so that was my duty, and I had to be, honest with my duty. So I got introduced with meat. Then, during 2016 or 17, I got introduced with this concept of plant-based food or vegan food when I was working with, Mr. Hrithik Roshan. So so then I thought that, that was a sign, actually, I would say that, because I was already trying to find reasons to, turn vegetarian, not vegan.
To go back to your roots.
Yes, vegan was out of the question for me, but I was just trying to find ways how can I turn vegetarian. And so this thing happened. Then I tried vegetarianism for a few months. Then again I was back to meat eating and all those things because of my work.
Okay.
So then COVID happened and I lost my job. I was out of restaurant industry. And suddenly this thing clicked in my mind that this might be my calling. This is a sign. Maybe COVID is a blessing in disguise for me. So yes, then I turned vegan.
Okay.
Yes. So this is how this is what my story of turning into a vegan.
Right. But in 2020, when you did turn vegan, was there like a trigger, or maybe, a lot of people that I've come across, either they've seen like something, I don't know, like a harsh documentary, or they read an article, or they met someone who was vegan who inspired them. So do you have like a trigger like that? Or was it like you tied it back to your 2016, 17 and you just sort of went along with it?
So all right, I'll tell you. There's one thing. The chef I was working with in Paris, he taught me one thing, that we as a human are on the top of hierarchy level in the world. So if a person is elder in the family, he's he had certain responsibility towards the younger ones. So if we are on the top of hierarchy in the world, we have a responsibility to take care of our juniors, or maybe all the animals around us. So he taught me one thing, that animals are here with us, not for us.
Right.
And he also took a very bold step in his restaurant in Paris. As you know, France is a big meat eating country. It's part of their culture. He stopped eating any kind of meat in his restaurant, including poultry, eggs, seafood. And everybody criticized this chef. He got three very successful restaurant business, having 3 Michelin star. It's a big thing. And everybody said, you stop, if you'll not serve meat in your restaurant, you're gonna lose your Michelin stars.
Right.
But he ran that restaurant for a year with the same menu. He pledged to not serve meat anymore. He did that, and he was able to retain those Michelin star, all of his Michelin stars
So he converted the restaurant to a vegan restaurant
for a time being, not
for 1 year.
but he lost business there.
He lost business.
Yes, so this is why he stopped. He introduced back poultry and seafood in his menu, but not red meat. He still not serve red meat in his restaurant.
Okay.
Yes, so I mean, he was a big inspiration for me. He was very compassionate about all these living things. So, there only kind of that was a sign for me. Maybe I should also follow this path. Because my family is vegetarian, and kind of values I come from. So I was always seeking them inside my heart, but I was unable to do it because of my profession. Yeah, so that was kind of a sign for me. If this guy can do it,
Yeah.
why couldn't I?
Lovely. So that, I mean, you then personally turning vegan was awesome. Yay. Yay to the vegan community. So in 2020, then take us through how you became, you turned vegan, and then how did the vegan cheese aspect come in?
All right, there's a very interesting story about this.
Love to hear it.
Yeah, so a lot of people, knows me as a chef in Mumbai. So, I saw this message on my Facebook. There's a lady is there. So she messaged me on Facebook and asking me for a vegan cheese platter. Can you do this? She shared some pictures, and she asked, can you do this?
Yeah.
So, I was already doing vegan menus for my client back there in France. And so, yeah, the vegan trend was on. So I used to create vegan cheeses in my kitchen. And so this lady messaged me. I said, why not? And I was desperate for money that time. So I did that for her, and she loved it so much. She got me introduced with 3 other ladies
Okay.
who ordered more cheese platter from me. And kind of in a week I made more than 10 cheese platter.
Oh, wow. That you need to really thank that first lady who you made it for.
Yeah, I'm very thankful. She's still in my contact. So I said, there's a great scope for this product. Then I researched on it, and this is how it started.
Okay. So going back, just to, I have a question about the journey and how you got into vegan cheese. So when you said you experimented with vegan menus when you were in France, so you had already tried your hand at vegan cheeses there?
Of course.
Okay, and your head chef was the one who sort of guided you, or was it purely through research and or experimentation?
Yes, so it was all purely the result of experimentation, because vegan cheese was very new in that time in the market. There were very few companies who were making vegan cheeses, and in Paris that time it was kind of difficult to source them. And what we used to do at that restaurant, we used to create everything from scratch. We used to produce that could be as fresh as we can, as it can get. So I mean, getting a commercial product was out of the question, because when we used to source cheese, we used to go to the formager, like the cheese maker, and we used to place the order to him, like make this kind of cheese for us, or this kind of the fromage for us. So but there was nobody making vegan cheese out there in the market, like artisan vegan cheese. So we did it on our own. So from there, we made vegan cheeses. So then, yeah, this is how I learned making vegan cheese. Yes.
Awesome. So, okay, you started off with the cheese platters, coming back to your journey in Bombay, and you got success in your first week, right? So then I think, did it start building in your mind like, okay, maybe now I should start my own brand, or what was the vision?
Yes, so the vision was, Sephra, in starting was to, I realized that there's a huge scope for this industry, and this market is going to grow, uh, you know, with tremendous pace in next 5-6 years. It will be on different level. I realized this thing, early in my days, and so yeah, I decided that let's start a business out of it. So I started with making cheeses and dressings and dips and some meat alternatives. The idea was to be one-stop shop for everything vegan.
Okay.
So the list includes chocolates, cereals, breads, dressings, of course, meat alternatives, and cake premixes, bread premixes, curd, milk. So everything you can think of vegan.
Right. So, are you already, that's the long term vision, or are you already doing it?
No, that's the long-term vision. But currently, we are making 3 different kind of products in our facility. We are doing sauces and dips,
Right.
cheeses, of course, then meat alternatives.
Oh, wow. I myself did not know that. Rishu, you are a man of surprises. I really love that. And I want to hear more about it. So, okay. So, and this was the start of Plan B. Like, you started with all three.
Yes, I started with all 3 together
Great.
because I was hungry.
Love that from you. Okay, cool. So now getting into, I think, the chef's mind, right? Because yeah, it's a unique perspective, and we love to have it here. So, what entails, from a chef's perspective, creating a vegan cheese? Is there like a different perspective you need to have in creating that artist? Because it is an artisanal product. It requires a lot of imagination, creativity, and artistry, which a lot of people don't think to, they don't think it takes that, but it does. So, is there any POV that you can give us?
Of course, of course. So in starting so I'll tell you, like, if you'll take other cheeses available in the market, dairy cheeses I'm talking about, they are not artisanal. They are like commercially made cheeses.
Right.
This is why they're scaled so much, right? So when I started this business of cheese making, vegan cheese making, so my approach was very artisanal. I used to keep it like fresh to made, made to order, making it with the fresh ingredients and all. But at a point of time, I was unable to fulfill the needs of my customer. Then I realized then that if I want to offer my product to the masses, then this is not the way. I cannot go artisanal. We had to think of something like where I can manufacture cheese commercially on scale. Then I started working on that direction. My idea is, I'll tell you, Sefra, there are numerous brands now there in the Indian market. Not all of them are good. So my approach from the starting was, because in artisanal cheeses, vegan cheeses I'm talking about in particular, you cannot you it's like impossible to get the taste of dairy cheeses. If let me give you an example. If I'm a flexitarian, I want to try something vegan. So if I'm seeking cheese, for example, what I'm looking for, I'm looking for a cheese alternative. 3 points: it should look like cheese,
Yeah.
it should smell like cheese, it should taste like cheese, it should feel like cheese.
Yeah.
And if I'm getting a product and it's not doing justice to its name, then I'm doing scam as a businessman. So our main idea is to make more people vegan. This is how we will be able to turn more people vegan. So from starting, my reference, I took that my reference point was the dairy cheeses. I want to come as close to dairy cheeses as possible. I never try to worked on like I will create something, a new kind of product like fat free and low cal or anything like that. My main idea is, if I'm able to create something closer to dairy cheese, then I will figure out the way how to make it less on calories,
Right.
less on fat and anything. But first challenge was to make it as close to the dairy cheese. So this is what we did. I can say it very proudly, Sefra. Our cheeses are stacked in your store. So it's almost like, right now, I think we are standing almost 95% close to the dairy cheeses.
Wow.
Right. And, when we hear compliments like that, then we feel so proud.
And you really should. I mean, that's a very big feat.
Still, we feel innovation doesn't stop here. We still, finding ways to how to improve it further.
Correct.
Right. So this is what the whole idea is, to make the cheese is in Plan B.
Got it. Amazing. So, you spoke about the commercially available dairy cheese, right? So, if you can help our audience understand how Plan B is different. Now, whether you want to talk nutrition, I'm all for that. Of course, ingredients, nutrition, the process in which it's made. Can you throw some light on that?
So if we'll talk about the process of making dairy cheeses, the most common available cheese in the market, processed cheese, if I'll talk about, you curdle the milk first with the help of cheese enzymes. Then you strain it through cloth or whatever. Then you solidifies it,
Yeah.
pack it, and sell it.
Okay.
Yeah, the enzymes gives that cheesy flavor to it.
Got it.
Now let's come back to vegan cheeses. What we are doing here, we are making our cheeses out of the cashews. Okay, because right now, see, there are the companies are making even cheeses with the pure starches. Using ingredients like emulsifiers, different types of gums, and all those things. But our main idea is, if I'm a very health conscious person.
Right.
So I'm conscious about what I'm putting inside my body. So my main idea is, if I cannot put anything in my stomach,
Yeah.
I'm not allowed to give that to anybody else. I'm not going to sell it. This was the whole idea. So this is what we have worked on. We are making our cheeses with cashew. So I'll tell you the process. We are culturing our cashews.
Yeah.
We are making milk out of it. Then with that milk, we are making our cheeses.
Okay.
Yes, our cheeses are clean labeled. If you'll read the label behind, without any additive, and having like a very stable shelf life. Not great. We are having 6 months of shelf life, and we are not using any kind of trans fat into that.
Another question on your ingredients, right? I'm assuming they are, of course, they have to be of a particular quality, considering that you're a chef and you're health conscious. So those are two important things to consider. So, are you very aware, or do you take steps to ensure that the supply chain of your raw materials is good and is sustainably sourced?
Well, I try my best to make sure of that.
Okay.
But some things are out of your locus of control. You cannot control everything and anything.
Right.
So, but we try as much as we can to make our supply chain sustainable. For instance, we source our cashew directly from the farmers from Goa. But of course they use transport in it. I don't know how we can eliminate that.
No, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, as long as you're in line with who is the direct beneficiary and there's no, middlemen who are, eating into their profits or, making that sort of chain unsustainable.
Right. But we make every conscious effort of making the whole process as sustainable as possible, and definitely we are working on that. We are trying to coming up with the packaging that is sustainable, biodegradable.
Yeah.
Yeah, so definitely we will get there someday.
Yeah.
We are not 100% sustainable, but definitely.
I think it is a journey, right? That's why we're here to discuss that very concept of how we know, okay, we have product A. To get it to sustainability is to get to B, and how we can achieve that over time. Hopefully, you do reach that scale. We are all here rooting for you. Yeah, hoping that we can have the most sustainable product and what's inside the product and outside in the packaging as well. So, speaking of the product, I think one thing that comes to most people's mind, the whole vegan diet, they always say is, "Arey, Ameer log ke chonchle is what veganism is identified as." And I think vegan cheese, mock meats are usually they are the most, I think, expensive, in the array of vegan alternatives that exist. So what is your take on that, considering that you make cheeses also and you make mock meat, so you dabble in both. So yeah, why is it so expensive, Rishu? Can you help people understand?
Well, Sephra, I don't think it's expensive. It used to be expensive. If you'll go back you go back like 3 years, it used to be expensive, but not anymore. Prices are getting down. Products are getting more accessible, more affordable. And if you'll talk about particularly about cheese, I'll tell you, like people says that vegan cheeses are expensive. Okay, I'll ask them, like, what is the prices of? I want them to go out and find out the prices of artisanal cheeses or imported cheeses. Like, if you want to compare, just to give you an example,
Yeah.
in terms of price comparison. Okay, like if you're seeking a cheddar cheese, imported cheddar cheese, okay, that costs around right now about 1,200 rupees a kilo or something like that. That's a business price I'm talking about, where we are offering our cheeses at the rate of 800, between 800 rupees a kilo to 900 rupees a kilo. This is our business price.
Right.
And even in the terms of retail packaging, you see the artisan cheeses are still expensive than our vegan cheeses. Any vegan cheese you take in the market,
Right.
artisan cheeses are still, or imported cheeses, for instance. I'm not talking about processed cheese,
Yeah.
but the time there will be scale, definitely prices will come more.
Will drop.
Yeah, they'll drop further. And this is what happened with processed cheese.
Right.
When it got introduced in Indian market, there was a time when people couldn't afford those cheeses. It was a product of luxury. Now it's like every other person is having that thing. We have that kind of scale, and company are able to making money with the small margins. So this is why they're offering product on such affordable rates. When this kind of scale we will achieve in the vegan industry, definitely you will see these kind of prices happening with the vegan products also. Yes.
So I have maybe a controversial question here, and I hope you can throw some light on it without taking any names of the big dairy players. Okay, from the little knowledge that I have, I do know that they get a lot of subsidies. Now, does that also factor into the retail price that we see on shelves? Like, because the minute we say vegan cheese price, a regular person is like, "Arey, हमें X brand का ये 10 slice मुझे I'm getting for under 100." I'm just giving a random example. I don't know the exact retail price. But do you think these companies are able to further afford it? Of course, with raw material prices being low, but also subsidies, do they have a role to play?
Major role to play, Sefra. Just to give you an example, I know this thing about Punjab because this was my first-hand experience. Some of my relative started a dairy. They got a loan of 50 lakh rupees
Oh wow.
without any, collateral.
And what did they have to show? Like,
They just won't need to. You just need to prepare papers and ask the bank that you are starting a, a dairy business.
okay.
They'll give you collateral loans are available for you. So this kind of facility, like you have funding of 50 lakh rupees, Efra.
Yeah.
Imagine that. So, and on top of that, there are low rates of taxes, right? So definitely we cannot imagine that kind of facility in the vegan business
Right.
as of now,
Yeah.
because they're getting subsidies. If your business is not working out, then no need to return the money also.
Yeah.
There are schemes like that. So where we can compete with them. I shared this thing with you because this was my first hand experience.
No, of course, we need to talk about this because I feel like a lot of people don't know that the dairy industry is really heavily subsidized. And people sometimes make it to sound like, oh, so these things only happen in US, UK, हमारे India में ऐसा नहीं होता है. But that's not true. It is a very heavily subsidized industry. So yeah, thank you so much for giving us that example. And I hope people are listening and, thinking about it. So in terms of now going back to production, right? Since you've given us the number of products and the kinds of products you make, what is the toughest product to make in a vegan version? Is it vegan cheese? Is it mock meat? Are they all at the same level of difficulty?
Well, the toughest thing is to crack the formulation,
Okay.
to come out with the product as close to its dairy counterpart or the meat counterpart.
Right.
If once you are able to achieve that, then you will find your way out to scale it. The make it at scale. But to crack that first formulation of the recipe, where you think, okay, now the product is ready. That's the most challenging part here.
So that took you the longest amount of time?
Yeah, that takes the longest amount of time.
So if I can ask you very candidly, how long did that take for you, so that if there are any aspiring, entrepreneurs who want to get into this space, at least they have an idea of how long they should keep?
So, okay, when I started this business, I was making my vegan cheeses with the same recipe I was doing back there in Paris in 2018. And so I was so from 18 to, and this current formulation we has introduced in December 2021. So you can calculate 18. So 3 years it took us to
perfect.
Yes, it's still not perfect. It's still work under progress. We are still working on it every single day to make it more functional as dairy cheese.
Got it. Awesome. So everything is tough, but once you crack the code, it becomes easier and easier with every passing year.
It's like reaching from point A to B until you know where the point B is. Once you reach there, then you can go there anytime.
Got it. So now that of course, by manufacturing a product like this, you also have to look at channels as to where you can sell it, yourself being a chef. So on the restaurant, hotel industry, and of course retail, wholesale, so we know. So how is the the perception to a vegan cheese or a mock meat been in the restaurant, hotel industry, the hospitality industry?
So hotel industry and restaurant industry, I've seen very receptive of this trend, because every restaurant nowadays, I would say like about 25% of restaurant already started offering vegan offering to their customers.
Okay. Wow, 25% of, like, are we talking about
like
metro cities?
Metro cities I'm talking about. And more and more restaurants are coming up, with the vegan options. So restaurant and hotel industry especially, they've been very receptive of this trend. On the other hand, if we'll talk about like consumer market still, still we are not there yet, I would say. The market is very small.
It is small. It is a small and growing.
Definitely it will grow further in next 5 years, where it is now. But right now it's very small and kind of very risky business to be in kind of a retail vegan business, especially.
I mean, tell us about it. Yeah. We are literally in the business of retailing only vegan products. So it is definitely a small community. I have to agree with that. But It's growing. And so now now that we are speaking of consumers and the consumer base, right? So my first question on the consumer side of things is, what is the kind of feedback that you received, say, back in 2020 versus what is the kind of feedback you receive now? As I think you launched Plan B officially in 2022, right?
Yes, in December 2022.
Okay, lovely. So what's been the the feedback flow from 3 years ago to today?
Okay, so 3 years back, customer used to say it's not tasting like cheese. It's not melting like cheese.
Right.
It's not. Then and also a few of the feedbacks were the product is disgusting. I'm not ashamed to say that, and that was all learning for us as. So these were the kind of feedbacks
Right.
we received, and now the customers are saying, they are comparing our cheeses with some of the commercially available processed cheeses in the market.
Yeah.
I want to mention this thing also, Sefra. One of the best feedback on our cheeses we have received from your customer on Sustainabash, where she said that lady was so sweet to come to me and say, I eat your cheese slices like a snack.
Yeah.
I mean, I cannot imagine in my wildest dream. I could have never that somebody will munch on my cheeses just without, putting it on toast,
Yeah.
without even. Yeah, so this was the best compliment.
I'm so happy that you received that. Yeah.
I that day I realized that I fulfilled my purpose.
That's awesome. I'm so happy. And I'm happy that we could play a very small role in.
No, you are playing very big role, Sefra. Trust me.
That's so sweet. So yeah, I had a few more questions about Plan B. You also do have a co-founder, right? So
Yes.
who's your partner?
My wife.
Your wife, great. So, was she also was she also in the hospitality industry? Was she a chef? Like, tell us more about that.
No, she came from from pharma industry. Now she has quit uh, in order to look after the business. Yeah, so she turned vegan after I started this business.
Okay.
Then she decided I'm also going vegan because if I'm doing this business,
Yeah.
then I also needs to do justice to this business. So she also turned vegan. Now she looks after the business part. I looks after the production. So this is how we have distributed our.
This is what we call a power vegan couple.
I'll tell you very honestly. I'm a chef. I'm not a businessman.
Yeah.
I mean, still.
Of course, it's a journey.
I love my work. I love being in the kitchen.
Correct.
I love being inside the manufacturing facility.
Correct.
Yeah. I love the heat of the environment. So yes, I don't want to move away from that place. And I need to make sure that my customers are getting right product. The product are getting made, right.
Another question for you about the consumers. We spoke about the feedback. What have consumers told you is their top favorite cheese of yours that you make?
So one thing was missing from the Indian market was cheese slices,
100%.
and we gave them that.
Okay.
So I think they most of the customers are very thankful to us for that. And other than that, our
But which cheese? Both the cheese, like you have classic.
classic slices.
Classic is the winner. Okay, good. So yeah, you were saying.
So yes, definitely the slices are doing really well. Other than that, our in block cheeses, our cheddar is doing good,
Okay.
and yeah, Parmesan is doing decent.
Awesome. So coming back to the brand, right? So Plan B. Any reason why Plan B is the name of your brand
Well,
and not Plan A?
a lot of people ask me this question. Yeah, right. Why not Plan A? Why Plan B? So one can come out with different interpretations.
Mm.
So even in my case, I can give you 5 different interpretation out of this.
Okay.
So when we were coming, we were thinking about the brand name, what we will name our brand.
Yeah.
So we gave a detailed thought
Mm.
on it. It took us weeks to come out with this name,
Yeah.
which should stand out. So plan B means, plant-based. It derived from plant-based. Then in my case, there's another interpretation is, like in my case, I was, doing job for a restaurant, for hotel. I never thought of coming into business. Then COVID happened, and I happened to be into business. So that was plan B for me. I switched from plan A to plan B because plan A didn't work for me. And I was, at times I used to feel guilty for consuming meat there. So I switched to plan B. And other interpretation could be, now for flexitarian especially, they are, non-vegan people, they are living their life with plan A. Now, I want to tell you, you need plan B in your life.
I think the last one is my favorite. I'm going to, if anyone asks me, I'm going to be like, oh, this is why Plan B is named Plan B. So, we've spoken about the name, and your partner is your partner 100%, your partner and your wife 100% vegan. Are you also vegan, or what is the diet you all follow? Or lifestyle you all follow? Sorry.
So in our lifestyle, our choices are very, conscious. We are still in transitioning phase. I will be very honest with you. We are not ethical vegan. To be very honest, we are still in transitioning phase. We quit eating meat, both of us, and we are occasional paneer and curd eater. Yeah. Other than that, we are completely on the vegetarian diet. We are not even consuming milk, and paneer also, that happens, once in 2-3 months, when my mom comes and cooks for us, and you can never say no to your mother. And she doesn't understand this concept of veganism and all.
Yeah.
She yeah. So other than that, yes, we are. If you can ignore those parts, we are vegan.
But what an acha bacha we have here who said he cannot say no to his mom. I feel like I have to say, I'm sorry, mom. I've said no, and maybe made you a little sharminda also many times in the last few years. But yeah, as we are here to discuss, everything is a journey. Everything finds its own path, and we are open to that. And I'm so happy to hear that you went to eating meat to coming here. So I definitely feel that you and your partner, your wife, are also on the right path. So that's a big kudos to you right there. So, and of course, by helping people like me who are sometimes looking for cheese alternatives and mock meats and so many things that you're manufacturing, you are already doing a very big service to all of us. So thank you. And so another question for you is, how do you see the future of vegan alternatives?
Let's call it vegan food era.
Vegan food era, okay.
That will come for sure. Maybe in next 100 years.
100.
Yeah. So I read it somewhere. It's a very beautiful face. Okay. Okay, I'll explain this with an example. How do you feel if I'll tell you, Safra, right there on that turn, a man is eating the flesh of other men? How will you? What will be your reaction?
I'll be shocked, obviously. Like,
For your surprise, I want to tell you that this was the norm 500, 600, or maybe 5,000 years back. Men used to eat men, they were cannibalistic. Then they stopped eating other men's. Now they are eating animals. Because they stopped eating men because they became conscious of it. They became compassionate about other living species. They're called species. So they stopped cannibalism. Though it's still in practice at some places, but now they have switched to meat of other living sources. And there will be time when people consciously will stop consuming the meat of other animals also. And that will be the era of veganism. Yeah, it will happen for sure, because change is constant, right? So yeah, this is where I see the future of veganism. And in next 5-10 years, you will see this market, growing exponentially. You'll see exponential growth in this market. I'm sure in last 2 years you have seen the significant growth.
Yeah, I mean, lot of
Right.
inquiries, lot of people, wanting to know what it's about. Definitely, I think we saw the like a huge spike started right at COVID because also COVID being a zoonotic disease, which is a disease transferred to humans by animals.
Right.
And most of the, if not all of the pandemics like this have been started by an animal source.
Of course.
So, you have your bird flu, swine flu.
Even the plague in 40s or 50s that happened, that was also a result of animal.
Exactly. So I think that was for us a huge awakening. And a lot of people were like, oh my God, these people are doing it. Maybe there's some merit to it. Let me check. And I'm so happy also to share that in that whole time, two of my closest friends also made that conscious decision. And they're like, okay, I mean, I can't take full credit for it, but they do see. And when you live by example, people are inspired. They do use you as a example in positive light, and it does impact their.
Change is infectious. Everything in the world you do is infectious. You do good things, that other people is getting infected with your goodness. You do bad things, there are people who get influenced by bad things.
Right.
So I say this thing very often, like, I tell this thing to my employees as well. Like, you do good. You you make changes in yourself. People will notice and they'll bring the changes in their life consciously. Don't force anybody.
Right. So speaking of your team, how many people do you have right now with Plan B?
Right now we have a team of about 12 people.
Wow, that's amazing. To me, that's a big team.
So I never thought of having that kind of a team,
Yeah.
ever in my life, because I started very humbly out of my home's kitchen.
Right.
Then shifted to facility.
Yeah.
Then thankfully we are 12 men strong.
Okay, that's awesome. And considering that you have like quite a nice size team,
We call it tribe, by the way.
a tribe. Okay, the Plan B tribe. A tribe. I love that. Okay. So, do you all also white label for other brands?
Yes, we do. We do offer our white labeling services
Okay.
for other brands. For sauces, dressings options, meat options, cheeses for sure.
Right.
And so yes, we do offer white labeling.
That's awesome. So I'm assuming there's a lot of brands out there, which obviously we won't talk about which brands, but do you do white label for some of the brands that are available in the Indian market?
So yes, we are currently making products for a lot of brands in the Indian market. Just to give you an example, I don't name those brands, but just to for your reference, we are currently controlling more than 80% of cheese supply in India. We are manufacturing more than 80% of vegan cheese in India.
That's so cool. Oh my gosh. I want to be able to make such a cool statement one day and be like, I'm controlling 80% of anything.
Maybe I'm
But-
sounding kind of a dictator here.
No. I'm being honest. It's a you should take pride in the fact that you have started from where you were and what you've grown to. So it's a matter of pride, and we are here to cheer you on and wish you all the best with the future. Rishu, can you tell us where do you get your sense of nutrition from?
Well, that's an interesting question. Okay, so I got a chance to work with this gentleman, Mr. Hrithik Roshan. So I got associated with him for about 4 years. I used to work on his diet, and as you know how particular he's about his dietary requirement and all. He keeps on transforming his body or anything for the movies. So during that tenure, I would say I got in touch with. I got a chance to work with country's topmost nutritionists, dietitians, and fitness trainers. So I was very fortunate to have that kind of education in my life. So before that, I was just cooking good food. I was not aware of how much gram of protein there is this much bowl of lentils, or how much gram of fat, how much calories. So I was not very much conscious about these things. So when I started working with him, this was kind of an eye opener for me.
Got it.
So I kind of that was I would call it that was a university for me. So all my nutrition sense comes from there, you know. So yeah, that was it.
Okay, awesome. I think that's very interesting, and so glad we have like a mini celebrity here.
No, I'm no celebrity. Come on, I'm just a chef, you know.
But you're like a mini celebrity chef. Good. Okay, let me say it for my own satisfaction. I'm just kidding. Anyway, it was great to have you here, Rishu. We have the last segment of our episode today, which is 2 small games that we want to play so that we end on a lighter note. Okay. So very quickly, it's a rapid fire, but let's call it a sustainable rapid fire. Okay. So cue some tense music in the background. Okay. One item you don't leave your house without.
My bad.
Okay. Your favorite vegan cheese.
My favorite vegan cheese would be Parmesan.
Okay. Okay, great. So we have now the second game. It's a very quick rapid fire, as you saw. The next game is just, I say one word, you tell me the first word that comes to your mind in 3 seconds or less. Only one word answer. Okay? Fine. The first word is ethics.
Veganism.
Okay. Hrithik Roshan.
Physics.
Okay, great. Sustainability.
Glass bottles.
Okay. France.
Paris. Love.
Love that. Okay. Tofu.
Great source of protein.
4 words. But okay, we'll take it. We'll take it. And the last word is green.
Green.
Array, too good. Actually, I should have asked you one more. Plan A.
Yeah, that would be nice.
Yeah, I'm just plugging in our brands here at this point, but that brings us to the end of this episode. I hope you had a great time, Rishu. I had a great time talking to you. Good, I'm so happy.
So thankful for you, to have me here.
Of course, we have a lot to learn from you.
From you too, and I'm really thankful for you to give me this opportunity to come here and give out my voice to people.
Of course. So I hope you all had a good time. Please check out Plan B's cheese. It's actually really, really good, and you will end up with the 95% similarity to dairy cheese, correct? Or 100, should we say 95?
95%.
Okay, 95. I think that's a really high bar. So let's try and let's give new products a try.
And order it from Greened.
Okay, that's all, guys. Bye-bye.